What is going on, guys? Money Webby here, back again with my Saturday DraftKings picks for the main slate. We have a 5-game slate here today. Some great hitting lineups on this slate. We got a game in Coors Field. That's always a popular game. The Target and some solid pitchers to go through. So I got it broken down for my money six of my favorite guys, 2 starting pitchers that I'm in love with, and 3 hitters that are in absolutely great spots, and also a value hitter that you can throw in your lineup to save a little bit of money to pay up for some more expensive bats. So before we get going, if you could drop a like in the video, I would greatly appreciate that. A kind of a weird night last night, especially with Lance McCullers against the Padres. Didn't do nearly as good as I was looking for, honestly. But that can happen any single night in DFS, especially with baseball. But pitching more or less than hitters. Normally the pitchers are a little bit more consistent, but any given night, one of the best pitchers can have an off night. But most of the time they're on their A game. He had 7 strikeouts in 5 innings, but gave up a lot more hits than I was looking for. But you know what? We're still going to ride with the Houston starting pitcher against the Padres. I think the starting pitcher, Gerrit Cole, will be able to do better than Lance McCullers and go deeper in this game against them. So Gerrit Cole here at 12,300. His price is honestly reasonable considering his upside against the Padres and how safe he is. The rack up drafting points in the spot, honestly. He had a great game his first outing against Texas. 36 drafting points, racked up 11 strikeouts in the game, only allowed 2 hits, so it's just an amazing first game for him. And against San Diego, one of the worst lineups in the league, especially without Will Myers, one of their best hitters in their lineups. They're heavy favorites in this game, so he should be in line for a W. So 4 drafting points there. And the Padres, they're only applied 3.04 runs per Vegas. So Gerrit Cole shouldn't be allowing many runs and should get the W. Get some solid strikeouts as well. He's a pretty good strikeout pitcher. And we know that the Padres are definitely prone to strikeouts, and he has good history against them. A 203 batting average against Gerrit Cole in 65 plate appearances. So I'm going to go back to the Houston starter. Think he can get up to 30 drafting points like he did against Texas, so lock him in there. And for my second guy, Gerrit Cole's old teammate, Chad Cole. I think that's how you pronounce it, Chad Cole. So Gerrit Cole. Now we're going with Chad Cole. So similar pronounced names at 7,200, a little bit cheaper than Gerrit Cole here. Not a great spot, but it's a great pitching environment here in Pittsburgh. It's very cold there, so some good pitching conditions. And it's a solid pitcher park against Cincinnati. Not an overly scary lineup, besides really Joey Votto, especially against right-handed pitchers. He is really the only guy that you really have to be worried about from the left side of the plate. So if he can just get around Joey Votto in this lineup, I think he can have a very good outing. And even if Joey Votto hits a home run off him, I think he can do enough to be solid and return good value at 7,200. Vegas is only applying the Reds 3.73 runs, so they like the Pirates and Chad Cole in this game in general, and he's had some solid success against these Reds hitters. Their batting average is only 233 against them, and the small sample size, around 50 at-bats against them, but still pretty damn solid. Had an okay outing his first game out. Let up a lot of hits against Detroit, 8 hits, but only 4 earned runs and 4 Ks. Did go 5.2 innings, so I think he'll build on that performance a little bit more here tonight against Cincinnati and a better pitcher's environment compared to Detroit. So it's 7,200, not a bad price tag. Saves you a little bit of money to pay up for some other bats. So go ahead and lock them in there. So those are the first 2 pitchers. Leaves you with 3,800 remaining per player. And moving on to the hitters, my first guy is going to be Matt Olson. We're targeting a home run with this play against JC Ramirez. He definitely has the power to do so, and the splits of both these guys add up for a huge, just a huge opportunity for Olson to hit a home run in this game. If you look at the splits for JC Ramirez, he was absolutely horrendous against left-handed hitters last year. He allowed a 44% hard hit rate, so guys were just blasting the ball against him from the left side of the plate, and he allowed 2.08 home runs per 9 to left-handed batters. So lefties were crushing the ball against them with a lot of home runs. So Matt Olson, He's a left-handed batter with some great power, and his splits are very favorable for him against right-handed pitchers, especially looking at the power numbers like ISO at 260 ISO, which is very high, and his WOBA was much higher against right-handed pitchers, a 439 WOBA, which is very high on Major League standards. Even at that split, that's very high against right-handed pitchers. So very good numbers against righties, and this game is actually looking like there's going to be a lot of humidity here in LA, so that's going to help the ball carry. I think the humidity was projected around like 80%, so that's very good to help the ball carry in this game. So Matt Olson can definitely hit the long ball in this game. Lock him in there. And for my second guy, gonna be pretty chalky here, but Nolan Arenado at 5,600 going against Anibal Sanchez, another guy that has the favorable splits. Sanchez has the good splits for Arenado's case, with that being that Sanchez struggles a lot against right-handed hitters. So we're talking about Nolan Arenado. Normally better against left-handed pitchers. Don't get me wrong there, but Arenado, he's one of the best right-handed hitters in the league. So Anibal Sanchez, with them being so bad against right-handed hitters, I think this is going to be a disaster for Sanchez's sake. And this game is in Coors Field, the best hitters park in the league. So I think Sanchez is probably going to be shitting himself when he sees Arenado step into the batter's box today on Saturday, and I think Arenado can have a huge game with like 3 to 4 hits, honestly. Colorado's projected 6 runs, so you honestly could get 5 or maybe even 6 plate appearances in this game. Colorado going to be a pretty chalky stack, but with good reason. Nolan Arenado in a great spot against Sanchez. Lock him in there. For my third play, OZZIE ALBIES. I was kind of tossing and turning if I wanted to go ALBIES or Carlos Gonzalez, so you can kind of pick between those two. If you want, for your own sake, if you want to do that Colorado stack, then I would probably go Carlos Gonzalez. But OZZIE ALBIES, I think he's just at a better point in his career. He's definitely less experienced and younger, but I feel like he just has more ability in today's MLB, if that kind of makes sense. So OZZIE ALBIES at 4,500, and he can get it done in multiple categories compared to Carlos Gonzalez. He has that speed ability, the steal a base. He hasn't got one this year, so he projected himself to get over 40 steals, so he's a little bit off to a slow start there, but any single game, he can get a stolen base. He has that kind of speed, and he's been showing off some tremendous power for little guys so far this year. Last game against the Rockies in Coors Field here, he went 2 for 5 with a double and a home run, so he's definitely shown the pop, especially here in Coors Field, where it's definitely easy to hit those longer hits, those double, those home runs and stuff like that. And I'll be in the 2 spot here in Coors Field. They're projected 5 runs, so Albies is another guy that could get 5 at-bats in the spot. He already has a double off Chad Bettis, the starting pitcher for the Rockies in this game, and only 5 plate appearances, so he already has an extra base hit. He's showing the pop against Bettis and a great hitter's park. So Albies is a guy that I'm definitely trying to target at 4,500. So we can go ahead and lock him in there. So that is it. 3,280 remaining per player, a little bit less, but like I said, there's still some punt spots on the slate. It's kind of tough to avoid these studs in these great spots, but for another kind of cheaper guy here at 3,600, Elvis Andrus going against Marcus Stroman. My reasoning for this play is the fact that Stroman is a reverse splits guy. Elvis Andrus is a reverse split guy, so Stroman struggles a little bit more against the right-handed batters. Andrus is better typically against right-handed pitchers, and he's seen Stroman only 6 times at the plate, and when he's gotten on base, I believe he's gone on base 3 times against Marcus Stroman, and 2 out of those 3 times he's gotten a stolen base. Stroman, by the numbers, he's an easy guy to steal on, and Andrus is a solid base runner, so I think he can get a stolen base in this game against Stroman, maybe even a hit or 2, so he has the ability to rack up some DraftKings points, and he always has that pop too where he can hit a home run, especially in Texas where there's going to be great hitting conditions here. So at 3,600 in that top of the order, going against a right-handed pitcher, his prices decrease a little bit here, probably because he's going against a pretty solid pitcher in Marcus Stroman with the stolen base ability and the great hitting conditions here in Texas. I think Elvis Andrus is too good to pass up, so we're going to go ahead and lock him in there. So that leaves you with 3,200 remaining per player. Definitely still doable with these guys. There's still some punt plays, like you can punt at catcher. Typically, I like to do that because catcher, I mean, most of those guys are kind of punt plays. Not many good catchers in the MLB to begin with. So drop a like on the video if you enjoyed it and got anything like helpful or good out of this video to help you out. Wish you guys the best of luck on this slate, and definitely subscribe if you are new here to the channel. I'll be doing these I can't even talk. I'm doing these MLB videos every single day for DraftKings, so you can check these out and you can turn that notification button on to get alerted every time I upload these videos. And I'm still doing NBA DraftKings picks until the year is over, until like the playoffs kind of winds down where the slates aren't like big enough to even play. But that is it, guys. Wish you guys the best of luck on this Saturday night slate. 5-game slate. Great plays across the board. All these guys I think are going to return great value on their salary. And you can follow me on Twitter at MoneyWebby for any updates or anything like that on the just on the slate and stuff like that. Any more other options you might want at other hitters' spots. So that is it. Good luck tonight, guys, and we'll see you back here again tomorrow.